Hey guys, how's it going? Once again, Thompson back with you. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. But before I get into this, let me just explain why I didn't put up a video on Sunday and this one is coming out a bit late. Simple reason is that my headaches increased over the past week or so. And yeah, that's about all that needs to be said. If you want to find out what my headaches are, let's just say that, I believe I mentioned it in the drowning video, so you can go and take a look at that. But today I want to talk about the thing that I haven't talked about before, which is the campaign map. Now, I won't be doing a tutorial on it at all. I won't be showing tactics, anything like that. I'm just going to be doing maybe a quick video, maybe a long video. I don't know which yet. Upon probably the most influential part of the game, which is the strategy map, also called the campaign map. So basically, you start off on your character screen, you go to the campaign screen. I'm sure that most of you probably know about this by now. And I believe that Rito had mentioned something saying that the strategy game is action game, also known as the FPS portion, is where they want it to be right about now. But the campaign view thingy, it's only about 30%. So keep that in mind as I'm talking about this. But overall, it's decent, I guess. I really do like the idea of the campaign, which is each battle influences the war. So as you can see, these little red hotspots right here, those are where they're actually fighting right now. And I like the idea of this being player controlled, and the players doing this, and not one of those ones where it's completely computer controlled. So that's what I like about it. Now the thing that I don't like about it is this little thing called assault teams. Now, as you can see, I've gone the full amount of assault teams that you can have. Currently, I have 10. That is the most that you can have. And this setup seems to have worked well for me. I'll just leave it on the screen for just a little bit if you want to see what I have. But the problem is that they're trying to make this game be asymmetrical in terms of units, but they haven't made it asymmetrical in terms of assault teams yet. Now, with the assault teams, infantry costs, I believe, 15,000 to get, and 1600 to resupply. Motorized infantry costs 34,000 to get once you get the stars for the first infantry. And it costs about 4,400 to fully resupply again. Light tanks, let's see, I can't think of those off the top of my head, so let's go and look it up. Light tanks, 83,000 for your light tank assault team, 21,720 I believe to completely resupply, and then tank destroyer 74,000 to get. It's about 12,000 or so to resupply. Medium, over 120,000 to get. About 58,000 to resupply. Yeah, yada yada yada. But the problem is that the units are completely different. Now, if you have been keeping up with the forums lately, there has been a lot of commotion over the past probably 3-4 weeks or so about the light tanks. Now, you probably know this already, but for those who do not, the Americans get the M5A1 Stuart light tank, Germans get the Panzer I. Warning, history lesson coming up. Panzer I never was used on the Western Front, except in 1940. It was used in 1939 and 1940 as a frontline tank, mainly because the Germans couldn't produce enough of what they wanted, which was the Panzer III and the Panzer IV, before they invaded Poland and France. So it was used much more as a supplemental tank, whereas the M5A1 Stuart was production began in 1942. I know that much. I do not know when it was actually designed, but production began in 1942, and by this time the Panzer I was basically out of service. No, it did not begin in 1944. I know that some people on the forum seem to think this is the case, but no, it did not begin in 1944. 1942 was when it began, and it was built as a next generation, I guess one could say, M3 Stuart. Now, there wasn't a whole bunch different from the M3 Stuart, but what the Americans did do is they put a 37mm gun onto their light tanks. The only German tank to ever get a, I guess we're going to say, a true gun was the Panzer 38T, which only saw service on the Western Front, and I believe it was from 1940 until 1944. So if you're going by historical timeline, that would not fit. But really nothing would fit into this guy. And I just want to talk quickly about balance here. The real problem with the Stuart versus the Panzer I is that the Germans never really produced a true light tank. There was, well, at least one that never saw service. At least, what am I trying to say? They never produced a light tank that saw true service against the US Army in 1944. Off the top of my head, I can name about, probably about 4 designs, maybe 5, that the Germans did produce during the war. There is the Panzer 1A, Panzer 1C, Panzer 2, Panzer 2 Lux, and then the Panzer 38T. All of those were produced during the war, and all of those were produced before 1944. And about 1943, they started turning all of them into tank destroyers. This is where we get into the Motor 3s and the Motor 2s, and etc., etc. And those that weren't turned into tank destroyers were either produced in very low numbers, such as the Lux, or were turned into training tanks, such as the Panzer II, or were completely obsolete and were basically sold for scrap, such as the Panzer I. The Americans, on the other hand, focused a lot more on their light tanks, and used the Stuart a lot more in battles. I believe that the M3 Stuart was produced about 13,000 times. M5, I think, was produced about 8,000 times. So those numbers, it's kind of like anything with the Americans. It's, much more is better. At least in World War II. So this is where we get the real balance issues with the campaign map, because, it's imbalanced in the action game, but it's not to the point of winning. The M5 Stuart isn't going to win you every single battle, because the Germans win about 96% more battles every war, so at least over the last couple wars. So that argument is failed. But the argument about asymmetrical balance in terms of assault teams is very, very real. And balance, the real issue is really twofold, where your stars in order to upgrade your assault teams is being earned a whole lot less than before, and it costs the same to do basically everything comparatively. So, example, it costs 120,000 war funds to upgrade to a Panzer III for the Germans, and it costs 120,000 war funds to upgrade to an M4A3E8. Same with every other assault team out there. And basically what this does is it creates a massive imbalance. Before Irwin, this was pretty much fine, since you could earn the ability to unlock the Panzer III in about 24 hours. Took a little bit longer than that to get the credits needed to upgrade to the Panzer III, but it was overall fairly balanced. Now, since it costs the same amount, but the Stuart has better performance on the battle, and then the other thing is too that it takes about 25 winning battles in order to upgrade. So that's several wars at least in order to upgrade to a Panzer III for the Germans, just to counter the M5A1, and then you start getting into the whole war funds issue, with it costing a whole bunch more war funds to resupply. But anyways, there definitely needs to be some sort of balance in terms of war funds, and this was what I was trying to get to over the past, how many minutes has it been, about 5 now? Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to go for an asymmetrical approach without everything being asymmetrical, and that won't work. You need everything to be asymmetrical, since right now the Stuart is just, completely cheap, very cheap to resupply, and has excellent ability on the battlefield, whereas the Panzer I is very cheap to resupply but doesn't. So it definitely needs to be asymmetrical, but this is, the first iteration of the war funds thing, so I guess we should just keep our fingers crossed that they do this. But the Stuart definitely needs to be a higher price, Panzer I needs to be a lower price, Panzer III needs to be slightly higher than the Stuart, M4A3E8 needs to be slightly higher than the Panzer III, Tiger needs to be higher than everything else, etc., etc. So anyways, that's my little off-topic discussion about the campaign map. But that's really all that you do. All that really happens on the campaign map. As you can see, I draw a whole bunch of units down here. Why, you may ask? Well, it's because I am encountering a resupply bug, where for some reason the Jeeps don't want to resupply. They always get sent in. There's, for some reason, spawn in an active battle such as Colmar or what's this one? Strasbourg, and they never want to resupply, so that's why they're all down here, because they're virtually useless at this point. So, anyways, except for the war funds problem, the campaign map, as of right now, is pretty good. I wouldn't create a whole episode out of it, because if all I do is basically drop it on a active town, let them sit there for about 30 minutes, move them again, resupply if necessary, let them sit for 30 minutes, move them again, etc., etc. So it would get rather boring very quickly, and that's why I've never actually talked about the campaign map before. It's because there's not really any point in doing a full series about it, because it's just the same every other day. But it's an excellent idea, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do in the future with the campaign maps and assault teams and all those things. I am interested to see what assault teams they will bring in, such as a couple of my ideas that I haven't talked about yet, which is things such as Rangers, Fallschirmjägers, well, they already have Fallschirmjägers for the Germans, but more specialized Fallschirmjägers, since right now they're not really any different from your regular infantrymen. Things such as heavy tank destroyers, medium armor, differences in medium armor, different ways that you could, let's say, customize your AT, so you could have maybe like 6 Panzer IIs and 12 Panzer Is, something like that. So you could choose different tanks. You know, there's just so much that you can do on this with this campaign map, and it's really going to be interesting since, you know, there hasn't been all that much that has gone into it just yet. But once it does get to the stage of being refined and refined more and more, you know, it may be even bigger than the action game. So I'm really interested to see how that will turn out. So, anyways, I think that's all I had to talk about today. I know it's probably going to be a shorter video, maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes or so. But my apologies for that, but it really does have to be shorter, just because I'm still not feeling 100% yet, and hopefully we can get back to longer videos and longer commentary soon. But anyways, guys, that is all I have for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Oh, one more thing before I leave for today, which is, you may be wondering if I am going to be starting up a tutorial on this. Yes, that will be coming soon. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. I am in high school right now, and as is May, what is it today, the 22nd? Something like that. Summer break is coming up very soon, so hopefully I can start putting up more and more videos soon, because one of the other things that affects my headaches is stress, and one of those big things is school. So once we get school out of the picture, I am hoping that we can start getting more videos up, and per that will be tutorials for this game, including the campaign map, buying your first assault teams, upgrading assault teams, characters, why you should buy certain characters, how to play the action game, etc. So you can look forward to that. But anyways, that's not going to be coming out today, as I just said. So anyways, guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.